All right, I've got the official approval to kick things off. So, officially, my name is Sandra Hawken, and I am the president and CEO of the Holland Bloorview Kids Rehabilitation Hospital Foundation. On behalf of the hospital CEO, Julia Hanningsberg, and myself, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to our first ever virtual evening of possibilities. Now, we have worked very hard to make sure that tonight's impact will be as close as possible to the spirit of the evening of possibility that you are so used to. We promise a healthy dose of inspiration, a definite shot of adorable, and we're so grateful that you could all be here with us tonight. We think, given the world that we're all living in, this is just the kind of event that we all need. And I'd like to send a special shout out to our friends at CBC who have joined us tonight and are covering our event and a big announcement that will be happening at the end of the night. So if you're all ready, let's get this party started.
Guess who's back? It's me, Alex. Well, I guess I'm not back, but I'm on your screen. Can you excuse me for a minute? I need to make a call.
Oh, hey, Alex, looking good in your old suit.
Thanks, Carson. This phone call is being recorded, so we have to look our best and have our best behavior.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Mom, can you please get me my jacket?
You get yourself ready over there and I'll get started. Did you know this is our first ever virtual Evening of Possibility, aka EOP?
Well, now I do. I wish we were on stage tonight instead of this call.
I hear ya, but it's okay. We have to stay safe, and we still have an audience for all of my awesome jokes. Let's talk about our totally awesome friends who donated to Evening of Possibility and Holland Bloorview this year.
You're right, Alex. RBC is our co-presenting sponsor this year. Wow, thanks, RBC.
Our equally awesome co-presenting sponsor, BMO. Thank you so much.
I just realized since we're at home, we won't have all of the Toronto amazing chefs cooking us dinner.
It's true, Carson, but all of the guests get gift certificates to one of the cool restaurants instead. And our awesome friends still sponsored as chef feature sponsors.
Well, it's a win-win then. Thank you so much to CIBC and Scotiabank.
Infor Financial, TD, and CI Financial, you are so awesome!
I heard there was some kind of signature cocktail. Did you get yours, Alex?
I sure did. I followed the instructions I got in the gift bag. I don't like the plant in it. I only pretended. Now can I have a glass of water? We have some people to thank for this deliciousness.
Oh yeah, it says that Altus Group and BASF are our cocktail sponsors. Cheers, everyone!
And we can't forget everyone who bought tables or tickets tonight. You all made such a difference.
Oh yeah, I saw how much money has already been raised tonight. I think we're gonna break the world record.
We're gonna be famous!
Speaking of being famous, we better get off the phone and get on to the Zoom call. I heard there was some celebrities doing a musical performance later.
You're right, Carson. See you soon. Bye.
Bye, Alex.
Well, how do I follow that? I guess by inviting the stars themselves to join us in person. Alex and Carson, I know you guys had a long commute. Are you here and ready?
Sandra, we're here!
Hi, Alex. Hi, Carson. I am so glad that you guys have come back to join us again this year at Evening of Possibilities, and that you have been promoted to MCs this year. It's especially great that you've been able to make time for us because I know that you've become somewhat of celebrity since last year's EOP. Alex, aren't you on TVO? And Carson, you're a Roots supermodel now. We're so glad that you are part of EOP. We can't imagine it without you. For those of you that this is your first event, I should tell you that Alex and Carson first met as inpatients at Holland Bloorview last summer when they were roommates and quickly became best friends after having the same SDR surgery. And by goodness, we're glad that they did meet. So we are so grateful that you guys are here and happy that you're back.
Thanks, Sandra. We are happy to be back.
We are also joined by another one of our friends, Michaela. Michaela has never been to this event before, so let's all show her how welcoming we are.
How do we do this over Zoom, Alex?
Everyone can just wave or pretend to clap, I guess. Let's see it, everyone.
I can feel the love. Thank you for having me here. Tell me, since I'm new, what is this event all about?
Well, it's usually at the hospital. All these people you see on screen are super dressed up.
There are Toronto chefs that cook really fancy and sometimes weird food. And most importantly, we raise a lot of money for Holland Bloorview. Oh, and ambassadors like us host the entire thing.
That sounds like quite the event. I guess this is basically the same as that, with the exception of the fancy and weird food.
Pretty much.
And Michaela, since we don't know much about you, do you want to introduce yourself?
I'd love to, Alex. I'm Michaela. I recently turned 18 just after I was discharged from a 4-month stay on Holland Bloorview's complex continuing care unit. I came to Holland Bloorview after suddenly becoming sick and requiring an acute care hospital stay that included needing resuscitation, time on a ventilator, and the insertion of a tracheostomy to manage my illness. My 4 months at Holland Bloorview was a game changer. I spent countless hours regaining my strength, and I learned to use my voice again. I know my family, friends, and the team at Holland Bloorview are all really proud of me, and I'm excited to use my voice to sing more. I love to sing.
That's so great, Michaela.
I agree. We're so happy that you're doing so great, and maybe we'll going to get a little glimpse of that singing tonight. I guess we'll wait and see.
Thanks, Alex and Carson. And yes, maybe you will get a sneak peek of me singing. I'm so happy to be here and have this very important job as MC tonight.
It's so much fun, Michaela. And speaking of our jobs, before we officially get started, I need to let everyone know about our super cool, amazing silent auction we have tonight. It's been open since Friday, so there are already some bids in there, but you can bid on these items all through the night.
You can find the information to get onto the website in the email that was sent in the advance.
Or if you need the reminder, we'll put it in the chat right now. The menu of possibility information can also be found on the same page or on your printed program, and donations and payments can be made through the secure website.
Good luck, everyone. Now, I know that we already talked about these sponsors and companies on our phone call earlier, but what do you say we thank them all again?
I think that's a good idea. After all, they are the reason this virtual event is happening.
Totally. We have two amazing co-presenting sponsors, RBC and BMO. You are awesome. Thank you so much.
Our chef features sponsors CIBC, CI Financial, Infor Financial, Scotiabank, and TD. We couldn't do this without you.
We got to try the cocktails that we'll all be learning how to make tonight.
Carson, you mean mocktails? Thank you to our two cocktail sponsors, Altus Group and BASF.
And we have many individual ticket holders that we are so happy could make it tonight. Thank you for purchasing tickets.
And what about all our table sponsors? Bear with me as I give credit where credit is due. Thank you to Allied Reese, Aon, Carol Cowan Levine, Catherine Wood, David Coriat, Ernst & Young, Jean Lamb and Paul Ostrander, National Bank, Westdale Properties, SAP, Osler, Hoskin, and Harcourt LLP, XIB Financial, Robin and Barbara White.
That's a lot of virtual tables.
Too bad there isn't any real food on those tables, but hopefully you can use your gift cards to either order takeout or visit restaurants when it's safe to do so again. They definitely need our support.
Speaking of the restaurants, I know all of the chefs were so appreciative that we supported them this year, despite them not being able to take part in the event. They wanted to show their appreciation and recorded some messages for all of you.
And before we play that, get your notepads out because you're going to learn how to make some cocktails right after that. Roll the clip.
Hey everyone, it's Chef Alita Solomon here at Tutti Matti. It's unfortunate that we can't be together tonight on the EOP big screen. I would love nothing more than to spend the night cooking with you and hanging with the Holland Bloorview families and the fabulous kids. But it's unfortunate that we can't be together, but we will be together in the future. Your continued support of the organization and the kids and their families warms my heart. We'll look forward to seeing you next year and look forward to seeing you coming through our doors sometime in the near future.
Hi, I'm Victor Barry from Piano Piano the restaurant. Wish I could be there cooking with you tonight, but look forward to having you at one of our locations soon. Have a wonderful evening, and thanks a lot.
Hi everyone, it's Anthony Walsh from Oliver Bonaccini Restaurants. Wishing all of you a fantastic evening in support of all the families and children of Holland Bloorview. Have a great evening and thank you very, very much.
Bob Berman from Barbarian Steakhouse here. Just want to thank all our patrons, sponsors, and especially the wonderful chefs for supporting the event this year. Next year, we'll see you in person.
Hi, I'm Corey Vidiello from Flock and Cactus Club Cafe. I just want to take a minute and thank all of the amazing donors and sponsors of Holland Bloorview and the Evening of Possibilities event for supporting Toronto restaurants this year in this time of need. We're so sad we can't see you within the gala itself, but we look forward to hosting you in our restaurants once we can get our doors open. Thanks so much.
Hey guys, it's Grant Van Gameren, restaurant owner of a few in Toronto. Just wanted to thank you for your support again for Holland Bloorview and the kids that need it. And I really look forward to next year and hopefully doing this in person.
Hey, it's Jesse Valens from Maple Leaf Tavern. Wishing you all a great evening supporting the amazing kids and families of Holland Bloorview. Thank you.
I'm Nick Liu from Gala Restaurant in Toronto. I just want to thank everybody for supporting Holland Bloorview. I wish I was cooking for you guys tonight at an Evening of Possibilities, but unfortunately we're stuck inside in small groups, and hopefully this will be finished and done in the near future, and I will see you again very soon, hopefully next year.
Hi everyone, I'm Lorenzo Losetto. I'm the executive chef of George Restaurant and the Verity Boys Club. Wishing you a great evening in support of the amazing children and families of Bloorview Hospital.
Hey folks, how are you? This is Matthew Ravenscroft from Rosalinda Restaurant, and I just want to give a big thank you for all your support, all your contributions, and everything you do. From me, from every restaurant that stands behind and stands strong with Holland Bloorview, thank you so much for everything that you do.
Hi, this is Keith Roggett from Skamish Restaurant in Toronto. I just wanted to thank you all for your continued support of the Holland Bloorview Hospital and the great work that's being done there. Hopefully next year we can do this in person. Until then, be safe.
สวัสดีค่ะ It's Ebnui regular from Pai, Kin, Sabai Sabai and Super Thai restaurants. Thank you so much for support to many restaurants in Toronto and to Holland Bloorview. I hope to be able to cook for you again next year and hope to welcome you at the restaurants. Thank you again. ขอบคุณค่ะ
Thank you.
everybody. Good evening. It's Anita Mancuso. I'm sure you remember me from years past. I own Sotto Voce, and finally you get to come into my house. This is Sotto Voce Wine and Pasta Bar. We've been associated with the Holland Bloorview Kids Hospital for a really long time, and we love doing the evening of possibilities. But what we're going to do tonight is teach you guys how to make some great cocktails. So first thing you want to do is you want to get your cocktail glass ready. So here I've got a couple ready. We've got some ice sitting in a bit of water in your martini glass. And these beautiful little cups are for our second drink, and you want to get them nice and chilled so they get that nice cold on the outside. So we have a great vodka today. It's called Prairie Vodka. It's organic. It's distilled from corn. It's fantastic. So we're going to start with that. Our first drink is an espresso martini, because we're going to do a martini that's sort of Italian style. So you get your shaker glasses. You definitely need your tools. We're going to fill your shaker glass with some ice. And the key to a great espresso martini is making it creamy. So to make it creamy, you've got to shake it really hard, and that's where you get your workout. So 2 ounces. These are not for the faint of heart. Drop it onto your ice. And then we're going to go quarter, quarter, quarter. So a quarter of creme de cacao, quarter frangelico that gives you that nice coffee flavor, and then a quarter of Bailey's that gives you that nice cream. And last, of course, you need the espresso. So I've pre-made it. You can make your espresso any way you want. It was hot, and that's a-okay, because that's going to help the froth on the glass, just like when you're making cold coffee. So top on, and this is where you got to use your talent to really shake it. You're going to dump that ice out. Oh, that smells so good. I know you're not here, but it smells delicious. And then we're going to pour. And you're going to see that nice froth right on the top. We're going to try and keep that froth. Look at that. That's gorgeous. And there's your froth. And you're just going to decorate it, finish it off a little bit with just a couple of espresso beans. Voila. Okay, our next cocktail is an Italian take on the Moscow Mule, hence why we've got our nice cups chilling down for us. We're going to start off with our nice iced mug, 2 ounces of our organic Prairie Vodka, again, beautiful vodka, 1 ounce limoncello, and lastly, about 3 tablespoons fresh lime juice. Fresh squeezed is always better, but if not, of course, you can always buy it. And then all you have to do is top it off with ginger beer. Your favorite type totally works. And of course, don't forget, you gotta stir. Gotta stir all that stuff up so it's nice and tasty. And of course, just to make it really beautiful and appetizing, we're going to finish the cocktail off with a little lemon wedge. And again, to give it our little Italian flair, we're just going to put in a little bit of thyme. And there we have it, a limoncello mule. Enjoy. I just want to thank everybody for coming out on our virtual evening of possibilities. I'm hoping everything will be back to normal next year and we'll all see each other in person at Holland Bloorview. Thanks so much.
That was so awesome. She was quick at making those cocktails. She's probably done that before. Have you all made your cocktails yet? If not, make sure to have your drink of choice in front of you at the end of the night.
It was also cool to see all of Chef friends we met last year on screen.
I agree, Carson. And hey, speaking of friends, it's time to introduce Jacob. Jacob is an ambassador at Holland Bloorview, and he's here tonight as our keynote speaker. Jacob is a student at Carleton University, currently studying architectural engineering in his first year. He loves playing all kinds of sports, his favorites being hockey and baseball. He is an avid games enthusiast, playing any sort of board games or card games, and he loves to watch movies and serial TV shows. He loves music, and when he's not with his parents and 2 siblings, he loves hanging out with his friends, socially either indoors or outdoors. Jacob, when you're ready, we'd love to hear your story.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for that introduction and to the organizers for this event. I'm so honored that you asked me to be a keynote speaker at this exciting and important event. So thank you for this opportunity. My name is Jacob Elliott, and I am 19 years old and I have a disability. At the moment, I have an AVM in my head that has been treated with radiosurgery and will be treated again. Now, you may be thinking that I don't look like I have a disability. That's when I'd ask, what does someone with a disability look like? My answer to you would be that just because someone has a disability, it doesn't mean that they don't have a visible one that any random person can notice. In fact, over 13% of Canadian youths 15 to 24 years old are living with an invisible disability right now. I have a brain injury. Now, when you think of people with a brain injury, they likely think about injuries caused by sports, falls, or accidents. Although these are definitely incidents that can cause a brain injury, they are not the only way a person can develop one. A brain injury can occur when either the brain is deprived of oxygen or blood, or when a blood vessel in the brain leaks or bursts. It can also occur from a sudden impact or sudden momentum or movement change. It can begin with a tumor found at birth or many years later. There are so many causes of a brain injury. My brain injury was the result of a previously undiagnosed AVM in my brain that ruptured while I was running with my cross-country team at school. An AVM can exist anywhere in a body. It is a malformation of vessels and arteries, and pressure of blood flowing through them can cause it to rupture. My AVM is in my brain, and because I had no idea what AVM even was like before, or let alone even if I had one in my brain, there was no way of knowing this was going to happen, and there was no way of stopping it. I'm alive today because of the people who were around me that day. Basically, my teammates, my sister, my coach, and a bunch of people that were walking by acted quickly by calling the 911 when I showed signs of having a stroke. If you don't remember anything else from my speech today, I hope you can remember these signs and share my story so that maybe one day you could be a person saving someone's life. The common acronym FAST can help recognize stroke symptoms. The F stands for face. Is their face drooping? The A stands for arms. Can they raise their arms above their head or touch their fingers? The S stands for speech. Is it slurred or jumbled? And the T stands for time. Do not waste any time calling 911 for help. Most people don't know that kids can even have a stroke and may not know that there are different signs to look for in kids other than the FAST. These signs are seizures, headaches, sudden paralysis or weakness on one side of the body, language or speech delays or changes such as slurring, trouble swallowing, vision problems, and a tendency to not use one arm or hand. So getting back to my story, I have always loved sports and physical activities, like said in the beginning to introduce me, and spent most of my life on hockey, skates, or playing either rep or recreational sports. But on September 13, 2018, 1 week into what was supposed to be my final grade 12 year of high school, my life completely changed. That hot September afternoon while I was running, I remember feeling disoriented and unbalanced. Well, to be honest, I don't really remember feeling disoriented and unbalanced, but a bunch of my teammates and people around me said that I was disoriented and unbalanced. I do remember feeling really hot and finding a shady spot to lay down in. But that's the last thing I remember of that day. And then an ambulance, they called 911, an ambulance rushed over to me. And while I was unconscious, I underwent emergency brain surgery and woke back up on September 21st. Yeah, basically a week later. That is a long time. After that day, I had to regain lost memories and my ability to walk and talk. But if you know me at all, you know that when I get fiercely determined to do something, I do not give up. I am so excited to be back on my path to make my dream come true. Even though I had to take a slight detour to get here, even though I'm still dealing with my doctor's work on getting rid of the AVM that is actually still inside my brain, I absolutely believe that with hard work, resilience, and determination, anyone can achieve their biggest dreams and goals. I overcame the greatest adversity of my life, and I want others to know that by staying positive and believing in themselves, they can overcome anything and achieve their goals, as I did. On November 3rd, 2018, I was transferred to Holland Bloorview Children's Rehab Hospital, where I spent the next 12 weeks of my recovery. It was at Holland Bloorview where I learned that overcoming something as difficult as a stroke could be made into a fun and positive experience. I took part in all the activities and events that the hospital offered, and quickly met many children with similar experiences. Being 17 and interested in programming computers, I even worked with one of the hospital programmers developing a video game for therapists to use for their brain injury patients in other therapy sessions. Being at Holland Bloorview, where most of the other patients were much younger than I started to notice that many of them began to look up to me. One of my favorite memories from there was while I was at a therapy pool, passing a ball around with a friend, and I saw a 6-year-old girl watching me. Her mother told me that she was struggling a lot with her injury and was sad and frustrated, but she was amazed at my energy and how I was coping. She asked me why I wore a helmet, which I wore because I had my own pop out of my head, so it was squishy. But she was amazed at how I was coping. When I explained it was for my protection, and she continued to ask curious questions. Later, her mother told me that she smiled for the first time in months, and that I gave her hope that she would one day walk again as I did. At that point, one of my therapists suggested I become an ambassador for other brain injury patients. I agreed to become part of this amazing group of ambassadors when I discovered how many other kids came in feeling frustrated, scared, sad, afraid, or anxious about how their lives would continue with their new disabilities. After I suffered my stroke, my motivation to do anything that I did enjoy dropped to about 0%, because I did not want to do anything that I didn't think to be worth it. It might be because the AVM, or just because something happened that permanently changed for me. But either way, I'm still working on making myself get better so that I can do all the things that I used to do before, even if they don't interest me. I found the experience of working with other brain injury patients extremely rewarding, as I could see the impact I was making on children with disabilities. With my family's help and support, I have made it a priority to spread awareness about AVMs, pediatric strokes, and brain injuries, to help educate people about how they can occur and the signs to look for to protect or save lives. Also, to make sure resources are always available for patients and their families. So thank you for this very great opportunity to share my story with all of you. Thank you for listening to me, and more importantly, thank you for learning.
Jacob, thank you so much for sharing your story, and especially for helping all of us understand pediatric stroke better and to recognize the signs of stroke and brain injury. Your resilience and your story of being an ambassador and always reaching for your dreams really hit home, and it's exactly why we're all here tonight. Not many people would want to follow a speech like that, but I know exactly the guy who's up for the task. Our second keynote speaker is Calvin Yoa. Calvin is a Holland Bloorview dad, a member of our Catalyst Council, and a very big part of the Holland Bloorview family. Calvin, if you're ready, please unmute yourself and take it away.
Thank you, Sandra. I'm honored for the opportunity to share with you today my story. So you're probably all here for one reason or another, whether or not you know someone or you know someone who knows someone, or you've directly been impacted or your children have been impacted. We're united here tonight because of possibility. The possibility that because of a deviation from the norm of our loved ones, it leads us to believe that life can be as kind to the patients of Holland Bloorview that it has been to the rest of us. However, 4 years ago, I didn't know someone who knew someone, or I didn't know someone. I wasn't directly impacted with anybody, but until it happened to our son. 4 years ago, our son, Avery, who was 3 at the time, had a brain injury, and that left lesions in his brain that completely paralyzed him. And because we had lost all ability to communicate with him, our lives got turned upside down. Our dreams of his bright future were completely shattered. After hundreds of needles and treatments at sick kids, to no avail, we were sent to Holland Bloorview. And I have to admit, walking into Holland Bloorview for the first time, seeing so much disability, my heart sank. I realized that we were in this for the long haul and that life would look drastically different than what it was. To be honest, we didn't even know what to expect, because at that point, we were just so tired, confused, and broken from the whirlwind of activity that we had just experienced in such a short amount of time. But none of that fazed the incredible staff at Holland Bloorview. You see, people here are trained to fill a gap that we didn't even know existed. There's incredible technology, research, study, equipment, and most of all, the people that make it their mission to give you your life back through rehabilitation. Miraculously, the day that we were admitted was the day that Avery started talking again, one of the sweetest and most memorable moments of my life. And day by day, they worked with him tirelessly to restore his speech, his motor skills, his physical activity, his body, and his brain to where it was before. Today, Avery is running around without even knowing that he had been paralyzed, and what it was like is completely gone. And tonight's a reminder that somebody believed in Avery much more than I did. A reminder that someone didn't give up on helping those with disability, and that someone cared so much that it spawned this entire ecosystem and hospital to be built to care for kids with disability. Holland Bloorview fought for Avery's life back. And with your help, we can continue fighting for the lives of those with disabilities. So thank you, Holland Bloorview, and thank you all for joining us tonight this evening.
Calvin, that is not the first time that I've heard you speak, but every time you talk about your family and your son Avery, it blows me away. Thank you for being with us. Now, both and Jacob have painted really very vivid pictures of the impact of Holland Bloorview. But for those of you who may be meeting us for the first time tonight, I thought I'd take a few short moments to share with you a little bit more broadly about who it is that we are. Holland Bloorview is Canada's largest pediatric rehabilitation teaching hospital and research institute, focused on creating a world of possibilities for kids with disabilities. For more than 120 years, we've gone from being the very best hospital that no one has heard of to a global leader in research and an award-winning center of excellence for child and family-centered care. We work with kids at Holland Bloorview with disabilities and medical complexities who had their diagnosis acquired at childbirth or because of an unexpected catastrophic accident or medical event at any point in their childhood. And if you've ever been inside of our walls, you know that it is the most special place in our province, a place filled with joy, filled with hope, and a whole lot of scientists. I might very well have the best job in the city, and I often say that because of all that I learned from the kids and youth at Holland Bloorview, all that I learned about resilience, about strength, about humor, and about the appeal of Velcro sneakers that light up when you bounce in a hospital elevator. It's a thing. I often think about my BFF, Jacqueline, who has cerebral palsy and a twin brother with autism. And if you ask Jacqueline to describe herself, she will say that she is a unicorn, and she could not be more correct about that. Or my friend Wes, who in high school had a devastating stroke in gym class, and after much hard work, just like Jacob, is now a third-year thriving university student in engineering at Queen's University. Or there's young Emery, who has a life-threatening fatal diagnosis of Duchenne's muscular dystrophy. And this little boy, his dry wit and uncanny sense of humor is wickedly awesome and always leaves me speechless. But if you ask their parents, parents like Calvin, they will say that Holland Bloorview gave their child their life back, gave them their family back. It was the place where kids with disabilities and medical complexities could just be kids because their differences were celebrated. They weren't bullied. They weren't stared at because their lives were valued and they had the opportunity to amplify their voices to be able to make a difference about reducing disability stigma far beyond Holland Bloorview walls. Now, it's probably important to address the elephant in the room. I know as you're watching tonight, there's other things on our minds, like the pending election south of the border, or the fact that over the last 8 months, the whole world has been grappling with a special kind of fatigue since the onset of the pandemic. But I have to share that for kids and families with disabilities, that fatigue has been tenfold because they have been disproportionately impacted by the effects of the coronavirus. Holland Bloorview kids are some of the most medically fragile and complex kids in our province, whose families are among the most financially disadvantaged. And the impact and effects of the coronavirus on families of kids with disabilities has truly been one of the greatest crises of the last 8 months. And I have been in such awe of the frontline staff at Holland Bloorview's leadership, and the incredible donors who have stepped up to make a difference during this time when we've been needed the most. We doubled the size of our family support fund to offer direct financial support for housing, transportation, food, and much more. And at the speed of COVID-19, we launched virtual programming to reduce isolation and ensure that all kids had access to the supports that we need. And this all happened as the costs at the hospital climbed and climbed due to the pandemic. But also at the same time, revenues for things like parking and cafeteria and our fee services in aquatics or dental or other programs evaporated. So we found ourselves at a point where the hospital was under unparalleled financial pressure and our families were under unparalleled medical and social pressure, and the needs could never have been more pronounced. So when we had that hard conversation about whether or not to cancel our beloved Evening of Possibilities, we simply knew that we couldn't. This is our most important fundraising event of the year, and it's the event that is earmarked to fund our most urgent and critical needs at the hospital, needs that wouldn't happen without this event. So thank you. Thank you for sponsoring and buying tickets for a Zoom gala. Who knew that would ever be a thing? And thank you for bidding on our silent auction. As the boys said earlier, it's open until 8:30, so you have lots of time after the event ends to be able to make your bids. But if you're so moved, there's also one other way that you can help us. That would be beautiful, and we couldn't be more grateful. Each year at our Evening of Possibilities, you receive a menu of possibility, and we ask you to consider making a donation to that menu of possibility at your table. This year, you received your menu of possibility in your fancy EOP gift box in advance, and a link in the email that we sent to you, as well as that my colleague Paige put in the chat at the beginning of the event. It highlights some of the most urgent and pressing needs at the hospital and our COVID-related needs, including research, equipment, youth mental health, virtual care, and our dedicated support and priority of equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility. We invite you to consider making a donation to one or all of these areas that would never happen without donor funds. And we've got some good news. I think we could all use some good news right about now. On Friday, Sean McNulty of XIB Financial called us. Sean is a Holland Bloorview Foundation board member, and he is a big supporter of our Investor Challenge and a guy with a really huge heart. Sean knew how important the fundraising for our menu of possibilities is and how compromised it would be during the pandemic. And so he stepped up and he has promised to double your gifts tonight up to $125,000. He has his wire transfer at the ready. Thank you so much, Sean and XIB. And thank you to all of you for considering making a donation and leveraging this incredible offer and doubling your impact, which is a pretty fantastic thing. And finally, but oh so importantly, I want to thank you for being part of tonight's event as a way to be able to give back to the chefs and restaurant owners that have been at the heart of the Evening of Possibilities for the last 14 years. Every November, they join us and donate their culinary talent, their time, and their delicious food. And this year, their industry has been pummeled. So we were so grateful to be able to give back to them via the gift certificates that you received in your package in advance of the event tonight. It really choked me up when I heard them giving their greetings earlier. You can tell just how much this event means to them. And I know all of us, the Holland Bloorview family, will be the first ones in line to dine at their establishments when it's safe for all of us to do so. Now that's enough of my voice. Earlier tonight, the boys, Carson and Alex, alluded to the fact that there was a surprise performance of some celebrities. And now I get to reveal what that surprise is and show you who the true celebrities of tonight are. It is my honor and privilege to announce the world premiere, the first time ever playing together, the Possibilities Band.
It's been quite a year. We've been stuck inside, nowhere to go. When will this end? Oh, we don't know.
Our parents tried. School home physio.
We've grown.
Won't give up.
We know.
Won't give up.
Through this together. COVID-19, all our friends, let's scream at this moment.
Have you ever seen anything like that? I can guarantee that song is going to be playing in your head for the rest of the week. Possibilities Band, that was incredible. Congratulations on a job well done and your world premiere performance. We miss you all so much, and it's super cool being able to see you perform and have so much fun in these unprecedented times. Speaking of people we miss, there are some other kids and youth that wanted to send their greetings as well. Some of our past MCs and keynote speakers have messages for you to let you know what they've been up to.
Hey, my name is Emma.
Hi, my name is Zachary.
Hi, I'm William.
Hi, my name is Jade.
I'm Alex.
Hi, my name is Ty. Hello everyone, my name is Omar.
Hi, this is Liam from EOP.
I came to my first Evening Possibility in 2013 as a keynote speaker, and I MC'd from 2016 to 2018 with my friend Ty.
From EOP Night 2018.
I was one of the MCs from Evening of Possibilities in 2017.
And I'm from the Evening of Possibility 2017.
From Evening of Possibility 2019.
You may remember me from the past few years of Holland Bloorview's Evening of Possibility. I was a host and I was also a keynote speaker.
From EOP year 2019.
Since 2018, this is what I've been collecting. Die-cast model planes, Lego cars, Lego trains, Lego Harry Potter, more Lego cars, and some more Lego sets down here that are waiting on the assembly line.
Since you last saw me, I have had the privilege of working at Bloorview Foundation for the last couple of summers, and I started my English and History degree at Queen's University.
Since you last saw me, I've been building a hydraulic arm, learning about the periodic table, learning about the history of the world, mastering a straight arm blocker, and learning about how not cool COVID is.
I've done swimming lessons, I've learned Taekwondo, and I'm also trying to make a YouTube channel.
Since I last saw you, I have graduated high school and I am pursuing my degree at Carleton University.
Since I last saw you, I've been making tons of videos as a Holland Bloorview ambassador, and I've even become a TVO Kids reporter.
I have been up to bike, soccer, sledge hockey, and normal hockey, and lots of stuff with Holland Bloorview.
Since you last saw me, I started grade 11, and I also had the incredible opportunity of taking on a job working with Holland Bloorview in the foundation office.
I didn't get to do much, like most of us all, due to coronavirus and social distancing. But we did manage to successfully get my sister married in these corona times. And let me tell you, it was not easy. Alright, well that's all from me. I would like to thank you all so much for joining us for another evening of possibility. Have a good night.
Thank you so much for contributing to an Evening of Possibility, and I hope you have a great night.
Thank you for coming to an Evening of Possibilities night, and thank you so much for showing your support to Holland Bloorview.
Thank you for coming to an Evening of Possibility.
Thank you for coming to this year's Evening of Possibility.
Thank you so much for participating and joining us for an Evening of Possibility.
Thanks for coming. Bye.
We have the most amazing family, don't we?
We love being part of the Holland Bloorview family.
We sure do.
Well, and we love you guys too. Our next two guests, who are our final two guests, are also a very big part of the Holland Bloorview family. And they are here tonight to join me on screen, I wish I was saying on stage, to make a very big announcement. Please welcome Holland Bloorview Board Director Steve Banke, the Holland Bloorview Foundation Board Director Steve Banke, and Hospital Trustee Bruce Cooper, who are both here representing TD tonight with some very big news. Bruce and Steve, please unmute yourselves.
Hi, good evening, everyone, and thanks for the warm welcome, Sandra. Like you said, I'm Steve Banke, Managing Director of TD Securities, and I'm joined this evening with Bruce Cooper, CEO of TD Asset Management. It's our absolute pleasure to be with you to recognize and celebrate TD's relationship with Holland Bloorview. First off, I want to give a big thanks to the team at Holland Bloorview for organizing this year's gala, pivoting the event to be entirely virtual and pushing forward in these incredibly challenging times. At TD, while we are in the business of banking, we're also dedicated to enriching the lives of our customers, colleagues, and communities. We are committed to helping create the conditions so everyone has the opportunity to succeed and participate fully in today's changing world. This is the central aspiration of the TD Ready commitment, the bank's global corporate citizenship platform. Our ultimate ambition is to help open doors to a more inclusive and sustainable tomorrow. A key driver in our ability to be confident about the future is our health. In the wake of COVID-19, there has never been a time where health has been more top of mind. We believe when we invest in supporting innovative research, solutions, and technology, we can help create more equitable health outcomes and help people feel included in their communities. This couldn't be more fitting than with the Treatment on the Go program, which will use artificial intelligence and machine learning to help children with autism spectrum disorder, known as ASD, prepare for the successes and challenges of life ahead. When parents and kids can feel confident about their health, they can feel better about their future. But with ASD affecting 1 in 66 children, it is the fastest growing developmental disability in the world. Focus, attention, and resources are needed to help better understand and treat ASD effectively. Now, enough for me. Bruce, time to jump over to you.
Hey, thanks, Steve. Just picking up where Steve left off, since 1988, TD has invested time and money in hospitals, healthcare programs, and children's health. And we're absolutely thrilled today to build on that history. That's why Steve and I are very excited to announce TD's donation of $1.05 million to Holland Bloorview to support the Treatment on the Go program. With this contribution, Treatment on the Go can help develop and deploy smart, personalized treatment for kids with ASD. These on-the-go technologies can help enhance the effectiveness of existing treatments while increasing affordable access to healthcare services for kids with ASD. Through Treatment on the Go, we hope this support can provide at least 350 kids with needed care at the optimal ages to help them manage anxiety, increase their self-awareness, help them communicate their emotions, and adapt to their surroundings, ultimately preparing them for their lives ahead. With more accessible treatment, kids will be able to practice their skills more often and in real-life settings, which will help them integrate into their community. And ESD is also a cause that hits close to home. Many TD colleagues are parents of children with autism or have family or friends with kids who are on the spectrum. So on behalf of TD, Steve and I would very much like to thank the entire Holland Bloorview team, and particularly Dr. Kuschke for your leading insights and groundbreaking innovation in this space. Thanks very much. Thrilled to be partnered with you. And Sandra, back to you.
Thank you, Steve and Bruce. Wow, what an extraordinary gift. This is going to be transformational for kids with autism and will catapult our work in AI and engineering, as well as be the fuel for the Bloorview Research Institute growth strategy to ensure we have the highest concentration of childhood disability research anywhere in the world. We are so grateful for our long friendship with TD, for you being one of the very first signatories of the Dear Everybody Inclusive Advertising Agreement, and that you would give a gift of this magnitude in 2020 with everything that we are all experiencing and that business is experiencing. It means the absolute world. Thank you so much to all of our friends at TV. And speaking of thanks, I know that if I could speak on behalf of all of you, which I try not to do, but I'm guessing that this is one time you might give me permission, I would like to say a huge thank you to our MCs, Michaela, Alex, and Carson, who have been amazing, awesome, extraordinary, fantabulous MCs. Great job, guys. I also want to say a big thank you to Jacob and to Calvin, whose keynote speeches were pitch perfect, really brought tonight home. And we're so grateful to both of you and to the 3 MCs for really embracing this new virtual world that we are in and making us feel closer together. So thank you to all 5 of you. I couldn't be prouder. Now, putting on a virtual event that was once a gala that we could do year after year and transitioning it to a Zoom is not for the faint of heart. So I want to spend a moment paying tribute to the incredible Holland Bloorview staff who have worked tirelessly, resourcefully, creatively putting together tonight for all of you. So special recognition to Paige Cunningham, Dana Bleeman, Shannon Chaplin, and also to Christine Hill and Lexi Hine for all of the roles that each of you played in ensuring tonight was the special event that it is. And thank you to all of you, our generous sponsors, our table hosts, our ticket purchasers. We are so humbled that you have spent your evening with us. We hope that you enjoyed the night and maybe even learned a little something about Holland Bloorview. But now, my favorite part of the night is here. This is when I get to tell you how much money we raised. So I got my official text, very official, from my colleague Paige, and I am so excited to share that in one night, not including the TV announcement, at our first ever virtual evening of possibilities, we have raised $535,000 and counting.
Wow, that's an amazing news. Thank you to all of you.
Wow, that is definitely a world record.
We are famous.
You sure are famous, Carson. And with donations still coming in, because the auction's not closed till 8:30, and the fact that Sean is going to match donations up to $125,000, I'm pretty confident that that world record that you guys are hoping for is definitely within our grasp for a virtual event. So with that, I think it will be fitting to close off our evening with a toast. I didn't think I was going to cry. All right. Can everybody please raise their cocktail, mocktail, or drink of their choice? And I'd like to propose a toast to Holland Bloorview and our 14th annual Evening of Possibilities. While we couldn't be there together tonight, we cross our fingers and toes that we will be able to celebrate all in the same room next year. But until then, we hope that you stay safe, and we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for helping to create hope, impact, and possibility for kids with disabilities. Cheers. Thank you all, and good night.